Hey, what's up everybody? This is D back again with another movie review for you guys. And this movie review is for the 2013 film World War Z Unrated. Alright, now, I've actually already did a review for World War Z way back when, but I've never watched or did a review for the unrated version, which I just recently watched for the first time. And so I figured I'd go ahead and talk about that a little bit. Plus, the original review that I did for World War Z doesn't show up everywhere. Like it doesn't go through in certain countries. I think there's a copyright thing going on anyways. So sometimes it doesn't even show up on my channel list, like when I look at my own channel myself. So things are going on with that video. So I figured, more of a reason for me to go ahead and do a review for this, unrated version of the film. So I won't really go too much into the plot, because I feel like everybody already knows about World War Z, but I just really wanted to focus in on the kind of unratedness of this version of the film, and just how I overall feel about this version of the film. If you've seen my other review about this movie, and you already know I'm a big fan of this movie. This is one of those kind of movies that just, I don't know what happened, but it's a movie I didn't really expect to like as much as I ended up expecting it. The first time I saw it was on DVD. I didn't even see this at the theaters. And it just kind of, I can't even say it grew on me, because I liked it from the beginning, from the get-go. It jumps into the action pretty quickly. And it really, what it does is it jumps from action set piece to action set piece to action set piece to action set piece. It starts out in, I think they're in Philly or Pennsylvania or whatever, when, obviously when they wake up in the morning and they're doing the family thing at the home, and they jump in the car for the commute, and in the middle of the commute is when all hell starts to break loose. So it jumps from the set piece in the beginning in the Philadelphia streets into the grocery store, and into the apartment building for the overnight, into that morning escape, into the helicopter. I consider that whole section as the first action set piece. And then you get I think they go to, I can't remember quite where the location is, but my point being is they go from 4 different locations Brad Pitt's character travels between, and gets into these kind of really tense, suspenseful action sequences at all 4 locations. And it's really just a non-stop kind of adventure ride. And I really enjoyed it. I've always had a good time with this movie. I've always felt it's kind of underrated. And I personally, when I saw that there was an unrated version, I was kind of like, it was a little interesting, but I enjoyed the PG-13 version enough to where I actually wasn't even too just like hyped about the fact that there was an unrated version. And that's kind of weird, considering I'm always one who's talking about, hey, how gory is this movie? Did it deserve its R rating and all this? If this is horror, then it should have been bloodier and things like that. I say stuff like that, but with that being said, I didn't actually need that out of this World War Z film. But anyways, the unrated version does add in a little bit more blood, a little bit more images of blood. There's the zombies actually seem to be a little bit more aggressive in some shots. They have them being a little bit more violent in some shots, but it's not a crazy increase in gore. It's not something that's really just over the top. There's a few moments of, where you see blood spurting and things like that, whereas in the original version you didn't see that type of stuff. I will say the additions there, and there's some additional, there's 7 additional minutes of footage in this version. And at first I thought, that's not too much. 7 minutes isn't a lot. But then when you watch it, each kind of little additional piece on its own is only like a few seconds. So when you add that up over the course of a whole movie, you actually do get to see a lot more stuff that you didn't actually see in the original theatrical release. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And those 7 minutes do add a little bit more grittiness, a little bit more kind of darkness to what's going on, but it wasn't something that kind of increased my view of this film, because this film was already high on my list. So I don't know that it had any kind of like positive impact or anything like that. It was just more kind of an interesting thing to see kind of an alternate version of a film that you already liked. I enjoyed this alternate version as well, you know what I mean? But I could still enjoy the PG-13 version, which is the one that I own myself. So, but if I was going to recommend the film, like say, you know, actually have to pick a version to watch, I'd probably point somebody to the unrated version, just because the average person who's about to watch a zombie film, they're kind of expecting and already wanting to see more blood, a little bit more grit, and just more dark material. So I'm gonna point them to the unrated version as opposed to the PG-13 version. You know what I mean? So, but with that being said, I do not remember what the score was that I gave for the original World War Z review. I imagine it was somewhere between 8 and 9, because I really like this movie actually. But my rating, my quote-unquote revised rating, whatever that means in this situation, my revised rating for this film, I'm gonna actually go 9 out of 10 for this movie. World War Z is kind of like, though it's not the same type of movie in terms of mood and all this type of stuff, is kind of like Tremors to me in that way, where it's just fun. It's just a fun, enjoyable film from beginning to end. One of those movies that's just like, it's kind of just, it's grandfathered in, so to speak. I like the movie, and I will probably always like the movie, you know what I mean? So World War Z unrated, I go ahead and give that a 9 out of 10. Definitely check that version out. And if you haven't seen any of the World War Z versions at all, I would suggest starting watching the unrated version. If you have to watch, you know, one of the versions, check out the unrated version. All right, so that's it, you guys. I'll catch you on the next go round.